Now, women and children are among the most vulnerable populations in the world. With sexual violence, their sad reality. But with the International Conference on Population and Development revisiting the global campaign 25 years later in securing human rights for these vulnerable groups, the testimonies of those who suffered sexual violence continue to form the backbone of that campaign.
These little feet have naturally been programmed to never walk far away from their mothers. No eye contact might be made during such walks, but they move closely and faster, as if every person they meet poses a threat. The United Nations recognizes rape as a tactic of war, acknowledging the intensity of the crime. 32% of young women aged 18 to 24 years and 18% of their male counterparts reported experiencing being raped or defiled before the age of 18, according to a 2018 study by a local NGO. The coast region is our focus, as it registers among the highest number of defilement cases and teenage pregnancies linked to rape. We are at one of the recovery centers in the coast region of sexually gender-based violence victims here at the Coast General Hospital. On average, this center records at least 45 cases on a monthly basis, or at least 500 on an annual basis. 4-year-old Tasha, not her real name, is unfortunately a victim of rape. Her first week of school in 2019 began on a rough patch for her and her family.
Tulipopiga simu shule, mtoto kwa bahati mbaya tukaambiwa mtoto hiyo siku hakufika shuleni kama desturi ya vile huwa inatakikana iwe.
Tasha has a medical condition that required her mother to make regular calls to the school to check on her progress. It was one of those calls that confirmed the worst. 7 hours later, after Tasha was picked from home, her mother says she was finally brought back, but something was amiss.
Alirudishwa nyumbani na gari aina tofauti ambayo ilikuwa ni nyeusi, sio gari ya kawaida ambayo inabeba watoto, ile kali ya rangi ya yellow. Na ile kitu ilinishangaza zaidi wakati aliporudishwa, tayari nguo zake, kutokana na kuangalia tu na macho unaona, manake alikuwa amevaa nguo za PE, zilikuwa tayari zimechafuka.
The morning before the incident was the last time she had her only daughter speak or utter a word. The trauma silenced her.
Akawa atakiona wanaume wowote hataki, anaogopa paka babake, anaogopa paka ndugu zake, akiona hata gari za yellow anatoroka.
Despite the number plate of the black-colored vehicle and the identity of the driver who dropped her back home being very familiar to the family, no action has been taken yet. Unlike Tasha, 9-year-old Tony, not his real name, might have had his offender put behind bars. But Tony was sodomized several times by a man known to his grandmother, his caretaker at the time, before anyone realized what was going on.
Nilisikia anatoa harufu ambao si ya kawaida. Wakati nilimuuliza, nilimuuliza marafiki wale wanatembea naye. Akaniambia ni dada zake huyo mtu na ndugu yake mmoja. Lakini hao hawamwambii wafanye tabia mbaya.
That was in 2015 when Tony was just 5 years old, molested by a man who was 38 years of age and married. A man who would pounce whenever Tony would venture out to play in the streets of Majengo in Mombasa.
Akaniita akampeleka kichochoroni, akasema nilale hivi, ndo akaanza kumfanyia. Alikuwa amenimalizia, alikuwa amesema usimwambie mtu, kama utamwambia mtu ataniua.
Fortunately, the case took one bond offer, followed by 2 years of trial. And in 2017, his perpetrator was put behind bars for life, ending the constant life threats that Tony and his grandmother faced during the period.
Just making sure that everything is in place.
Saida Mwinyi, the nurse in charge of the SGBV Recovery Center, says that is not the case for everyone.
There are only a few cases whose judgment has been done. When you ask the police when the case is taking, why the case is taking so long, they also have their version. They'll tell you that maybe the survivor never went to make a statement. Some survivors, when they are summoned to go to court, some of them are already in school. The parents feel that, it's too tedious, it's taking so long. Some of them even give up on the way.
Kilifi County, for example, records among the highest number of teenage pregnancies linked to rape in the coast region. Even though cases are reported, Magu Mutindika, the county commissioner, like Saida the nurse, says the corridors of justice present a challenge.
We have talked with the new judge, the resident judge in Malindi, and also the DPP's office, the Director of Public Prosecution. We are here to see whether they are going to change, because the team is new, yet they just came the other day.
Cultural practices in the coastal region have also interfered with the delivery of justice.
If they are related, then it is very difficult for you to win that case, because they'll just sit as a family and then discuss and finish up the matter themselves.
My feeling as a health service provider, I wish the cases could end even within 6 months if possible, especially where the perpetrator is known.
According to a 2019 report by the International Center for Reproductive Health, 74% of perpetrators are known to the victim, be it a relative, neighbor, intimate or former partner.
Naweza kuwatambua nikiwaona, kwa sahi baada hicho kitendo sijawaona tena hata kwa njia.
17-year-old Mwanaidi was raped by a boy, her classmate, in 2017, and whose advances she had turned down. She was in Form 1 then.
Lakini yake ilikuwa si nzuri, kwa sababu alifanya bidii, akanitime wakati sisi nimetoka shule, lala na mimi, ndo hapo ndo nilipopata ujauzito.
Like many other girls, she did not speak out immediately. She got pregnant and had to drop out of school to avoid further stigmatization.
Ililetea vigumu sana, hata nilikuwa nimefikia wakati sinaona sifai hata kuishi.
Luckily, she went back to the same school soon after giving birth last year. Her daughter, a bubble of joy, but a constant reminder to her of the painful circumstances which led to her birth. Tasha, Tony and Mwanaidi have been victims of circumstance, their innocence shredded from them before they understood what they could make of their lives. Unfortunately, they have been left voiceless, their cases merely becoming statistics in many international conferences. But with the curtains closing on the International Conference on Population and Development, their families hope that the renewed commitments of the member states in fighting sexual violence and preserving justice for all will be driven by the sound of their silence and those that share their scars with them. Raquel Muigai, Citizen TV.